Are we live? We're live. Okay, good. Hello! Welcome to Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. As you can see, the cocktail is already in full effect. And that, my friends, is because I always think that I'm really ahead of the game and I have everything all planned out and measured out and ready to go. And then I remember that if we want our children to be quiet and to be entertained and to be fed, we have to cook them dinner. And so it is a mad rush always, moments before we go Facebook Live for Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. The cocktail did start early, but I'm going to make one for you so that I can deliver a cocktail to Mrs. Chris, who is with our children, our angel, who watches our kids every single day. Welcome to our kitchen, and thanks for joining us again. Today we are making, now bear with me here, this is a mouthful, but I promise you that when you taste how delicious the dates that we are making today, when you taste how fantastic they are, you're not going to care how many words are in the description. You're just going to say, gimme. They're cheese stuffed. We're using a goat cheese, a ricotta, and a mascarpone, or a mascarpone, as my friend Gianna De Laurentiis likes to say. Taking all three of those cheeses and stuffing them into some dates. Let me just tell you something about these little guys. It's a labor of love, all of this, because you have to cut the date open, you have to create a little tiny pocket inside of the date, and then we're gonna take this cheese mixture and pipe it into the date, and then we are going to wrap it in some delicious bacon from Niece's Country Sausage. The bacon. And then we are going to top the dates that have been stuffed with the cheese and wrapped in the bacon. We're going to top it with a rosemary hot honey and bacon in the oven. And I'm telling you, I made some already today, which is, I think, part of the reason why I'm running so behind, because I needed to do a trial run. And my husband, Ben, who is the producer of this show, who is the cameraman, has eaten half of the product. So I have a few to show you, but not very many. So good thing we're making more, right? And we're also going to wrap some asparagus. This today really is just about like the bites and cocktail. So let's get started. You named this this episode "Wrap It Up."
Yeah.
Which I thought was really clever. It's very, very clever. Delicious. The cocktail. I don't really have a name for it. We just kind of threw it together at the last minute. It is, of course, using Jola Winery and Vineyards Golden Hallows, a very light, crisp, refreshing white wine. We're going to start with some ice in the bottom of a glass. Going to add a beautiful lemon, which my husband pointed out is pretty much all peel, all pith. Put that in there, in the glass. We're going to, I put together a very easy, simple syrup with rosemary and some ginger today. Thought change it up just a little bit. So it's 1 cup of sugar to 1 cup of water, a couple sprigs of fresh rosemary that I took from the neighbor's yard. So they don't mind. Took some rosemary, added some freshly grated ginger into the saucepan and cooked it all down, and then let it come to room temperature, and then just strained it, and we have a lot of simple syrup. So we're gonna add about a tablespoon worth of simple syrup. We're going to add our Jola Winery Vineyards Golden Hallows right on top. Said I was going to make this for Mrs. Chris, but I already know that my husband has asked for another, so.
I need it.
He needs it. All right, and then we also have some sparkling water, just mineral sparkling. Seltzer, club soda, works great. Add it all in there. Eyeballing it, obviously. Don't have exact measurements because, again, threw it together. But, Ben, what'd you say when you tasted it? You thought it was refreshing.
Very refreshing, and definitely I like the fact that you added more wine to it this time.
Oh, good. Well, cheers. Dink. There you are. Cocktail number 2 for Ben, just 1 for me. Lagging behind. I'll catch up. Yeah, I'll catch up, don't worry. All right, on to the cheese stuffed. Fantastic. Oh, good. I got a ringing applause for the cocktail. So see?
2 to 1 wine, 2 parts wine to 1 part of the soda, or 3 to 1 wine soda.
I guess it pays to be heavy-handed when it comes to pouring wine, right? Or any sort of
That's very
liquor,
good.
heavy-handed. All right, so on to the cheese stuffed dates. Now, originally we were going to use just goat cheese, but truth be told, I don't love goat cheese on its own. It's too tangy, too tangy. It just not sour, but I like it a little tiny bit of goat cheese. So we're gonna add some. We do have about 3 ounces of goat cheese here. We're going to use some about 4 ounces of mascarpone. I can't say it without saying it like Giada every time. Mascarpone. And then my personal favorite, ricotta. And this is about 4 ounces of ricotta to just sort of mellow out the goat cheese for me. But if you're a huge fan of goat cheese, by all means, skip the mascarpone, skip the ricotta, and just use goat cheese. This is your appetizer, so you can make it however you like. I do have, let me clear all this off for you. Oh, and you guys, while we're cooking together, cooking with Katie and a cocktail, please, in the comment section, tell me how you're doing. Tell me what you're cooking. Any comments or suggestions or concerns, problems. Let me know in the comment section. Ben is going to be reading them throughout our time cooking together. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them to the best of my ability. We'll see how I do. All right, so.
What would you say on goat cheese? Would you say you don't like it because it has is it just a tangy?
Yeah, it's just too tangy for
like,
me.
Not bitter, but it's
Not
like,
bitter.
It just has different.
Yeah, it's just a little too sour, too tangy for me. So that's why I really want to mellow it out. I do happen to have, so first of all, let me just explain to you. So I took these dates, the medjool dates, and sliced them and tried to create a little bit of a pocket in there, which is where all of that delicious cheese filling is going to go. As you're stuffing them, and we'll get to that process, as you're stuffing the cheese into the date, really be generous because you're gonna wrap it all up into some bacon, and of course that bacon, as it cooks, is gonna shrink wrap the date and really hold the cheese in there. When I was making these a little bit earlier, I didn't add as much cheese as I would have liked, and a couple of them kind of fell open, and so I'm gonna wrap them a little bit tighter this time as well. So just tricks of the trade. What you got?
Latoya on here says that she doesn't like goat cheese either. It tastes like the goat smells. And I was gonna say that we could check it out whenever the Carolina Classic Fair comes, but of course they've canceled that
so
along
now
with
we're not
pretty much everything else in the.
I mean, I guess I can kind of see. I'm not saying that I dislike goat cheese. I just think that sometimes it's a little strong for my liking. So, but I know that I'm also like in the minority. I know a lot of people love goat cheese. I do, because I made these a little bit earlier, I do have some left over, but I'm going to go through the process of how we mix it. Bring all of your cheeses to room temperature because it's a lot easier to mix that way, and then it'll be easier to pipe in to your bag. The 3 ounces of goat cheese. I'm going to add the 4 ounces of mascarpone.
And Carol commented on here that you can sweeten the goat cheese by adding sugar or
honey,
adding lemon or something to it too.
Oh.
I think the mascarpone has a sweet.
Mascarpone's like obviously like one of the main components for tiramisu, but kind of along the same lines of cream cheese, like a very mellow, subtle cream cheese. And to the mascarpone to make tiramisu, you're adding sugar to make that very sweet filling. But we're going savory today. But honey would be a great addition, I think. To these 2 cheeses, I'm going to add the ricotta. The lemon I'm not so sure about, though. I feel like that would add an extra tang that I'm not really looking for. But you never know. All right.
Billy Ridgway.
Yeah,
She
hey.
comments.
Yes, hi,
and
Billy.
She said that she did some stuffed dates for Halloween, and they look like little roaches.
They do! The whole time! I'm not kidding you. The whole time I was slicing open my dates, I thought, These look like cockroaches. Not appetizing, but you know what? They're going to be hidden in the bacon so no one will know. My little cockroach bugs. All right, we're going to mix this until it's all incorporated. Now, let me just tell you, when I did this the first time, I put it into a Ziploc bag, and then I cut a little end because, you know, I'm not fancy. But apparently I am fancy because my husband said, why don't you use the piping bag and the tip that we have in the baking drawer? And I was like, oh, who knew? So I'm going to attempt to make that work. We'll see how it goes. If you don't have the bag and the baking tip, a plastic bag works just fine. Also, I think, don't people use parchment paper too sometimes? You can do a parchment or...
I have no idea. Somebody's going to let us know, though.
Yeah. All right, so when this is all incorporated, sure I get all that goat cheese incorporated in there so I don't bite into a huge lump of goat. I'm going to pipe it into... Can you turn the fan in here? It's hot, please. I think it might be all the wine is finally getting to me.
What a time we rearranged the whole house today.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Today, Ben and I, we are very rarely home at the same time. We're always working opposite schedules. Oh, I have to roll this down, he says.
It just makes it easier to get to the...
Sometimes I think this should be cooking with Ben, for being honest. He knows all the tricks. All the tricks. Anyway, we're very rarely home at the same time, and today we were. And we were able to... This whole school thing, you guys. I mean...
That's what you're going to go talk about tonight, too?
Yep. So that's part of the reason why we're making these. I'm going to a wine, W-H-I-N-E, and cheese party tonight. All about what we're going to do for school. I got to hand it to all the parents who have gone before me and to my own parents. You know, we didn't have to worry about this last year because our daughter Nora was still in preschool, and obviously we weren't worrying about coronavirus. But this year, she's going to be in kindergarten, and it is a very different story. So, just trying to figure out what we're doing. Feel free to let me know what y'all are doing, because I'll take any sort of recommendation that you have. Everybody I know is in the same boat. We're all just figuring it out. All right. Ooh, I'm feeling pretty professional. Watch it like come busting out of the back. Whatever. I'm professional for 5 seconds. All right. So actually, let me get these on our baking sheet. Just a small baking sheet lined with parchment, and I will be using this a little bit later. I'm gonna take our little cockroaches, our little dates, and make sure that if you can, the hollow part is up. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to do every single one of these, but I am going to show you how to get started. So that's why I was working ahead today, so you don't have to watch me do every single one of these dates. You just see. Please work. This doesn't work, Benjamin. Ooh, there she goes. All right. So, I'm going to just, right in the hollow, fill her up. And that is why it's really helpful to have your cheese at room temperature so that it is easier to pipe into your date.
And maybe even taking it with blending it with a hand mixer or something like that.
Yeah, to really whip it,
yeah,
I think.
Maybe make it a little smoother or something like that. But.
Whip it good. Sorry. Okay. Well, today you hear Maisie barking. It's because, whoops, kids are not sharing their food with her. I can tell. I can just predict it. All right.
Jennifer Beard said that she's got 3 kids, going into 5th, 6th, and 8th, and she is panicking and drinking heavily.
Yeah. Cheers. Who was that? It was
Jennifer Beard.
Jennifer, cheers to you. You deserve it.
Rookie question: parchment paper and wax paper the same? No.
No. So I did some research on this. My dad, who had worked for Reynolds Aluminum for 38 years, was very disappointed in me that I did not know the difference right away. But wax paper has wax, a wax coating. Parchment paper does not, because it needs to get up to very, very, very high heat without causing the paper to disintegrate, to light on fire, to melt. So I think silicone is what it's coated with. But definitely use parchment paper if you are putting this into the oven. And it's not necessary. You could just put it right onto your baking sheet. But since, you know, supporting my dad and his business all these years, I have parchment paper, and I think it makes for a very nice, easy cleanup. So if I have it, I use it. If not, I just go straight onto the baking sheet. I do have a date ready to show you that's been filled with the cheese. Again, really fill it as much as you can. You know, obviously you don't want it to, you know, come spilling out over the top, but the bacon is going to shrink wrap onto the date and really hold it all together. So I am going to use a piece of this Mises bacon. Actually, use this one. And I did cut the bacon in thirds because it's just easier to work with, and it's, you know, you do want a bite of the date, and you want a bite of the cheese, and you want a bite of the bacon. These are just little hors d'oeuvres. So I felt like a whole piece of bacon, while there's no such thing as too much bacon, I felt like maybe it was a little too much for this. So just put this. Maisie's here because I said bacon, that's why. So put your put your date in face up. You're gonna wrap, and you're gonna wrap, and you're gonna try to get the seam down. All right, so the idea here, I'll do one more for you. Maybe I should just do all at one time. I had only planned on doing just the one, but I'll show you. The oven, by the way, should be preset to 400 degrees. And these are gonna bake for about 20 minutes until the bacon gets all crispy. And we're gonna coat it with this honey that we're gonna make in 1 second. And the idea, the goal is to get the honey to caramelize on top of the crispy, delicious, salty bacon. And it's just like the perfect bite. So I'll do just a couple more of these to show you.
Let's see.
What you got over there, Ben? Anything?
Pam said that we did this with pecan flavored cream cheese, bacon wrap for the holidays. Same problem with the bacon, and next time tried it sticking toothpicks into the bacon. Yeah, to hold the bacon tight. Yeah.
I did think about doing the toothpicks. The only problem is that I think I really only have decorative ones right now that would not go so great in the oven, but that is a really excellent idea just to hold it all together. All right, do a couple more pieces of bacon. Again, date side up. So I'm gonna try to wrap it. Looks much more appetizing this way, as opposed to little cockroaches on your baking sheet. All right, and I'll do this one more, just so you get the idea. Just like that. And then you're gonna fill your baking sheet and then bake it for about 20 minutes, or again, until the bacon is all golden and crispy. I'm gonna show you this honey that we're gonna make. And I have already made one, and so I had plenty, but I'm gonna show you all the key players. So we're gonna use 1/3 cup of honey. And it's right here in this delicious bowl. 1/3 cup of honey. We're going to use just a dash of cayenne. Now, if you want it to be really, really hot, you could do a little bit more than just a dash or a pinch of cayenne pepper. We're gonna use a tablespoon of fresh rosemary that I stole directly from the neighbor's yard and I chopped up. And then just some salt and some pepper. And we are going to, when these are all said and done and my tray is all full, you're going to just take the honey and drizzle it on top of all of your bacon wrapped dates. And you're gonna have some honey left over because this is how much I had left over from my first batch. And you can just put this into a little serving dish and serve it alongside the hot dates. These can be made the night before and sit in the fridge, and then you bake them when you're ready to have them. Or you can bake them and serve them at room temperature and trust that they are just as delicious when they're room temperature and when they come right out of the oven. Isn't that right, Ben?
That's right.
Yes. So let me show you what they look like. What you got?
Oh, somebody pointed out that we don't have any pulls on our cabinets.
No, we don't. Mm-mm.
5 years in. 5 years in that we've lived here, and we just haven't committed to it. We really just want to blow up the whole kitchen and put something.
That's
better
ideal.
in here.
That would be the ideal situation.
And we also have kids that at first we didn't want them.
Oh yeah, we were baby
give them a little bit
proofing.
of a challenge to get in, but
We were baby
yeah.
proofing when we first moved in, so
But the house came like this.
house came like this. And I also think that if we tried to put any sort of hardware on here, that this cabinet would just like split in two. I don't know. Every day it's a disappointment, but okay. So this is what they look like. I wish that they were prettier. I really do. But you know what? If you do put a decorative toothpick in there, and we have the beautiful rosemary on top, this honey, oh, so delicious. It's the perfect bite. Goes fantastic with your cocktail. Let me just show you how the bacon, I don't know if you can really get in there and see all this goodness, but the bacon and the honey, it's just a sticky, delicious bite. So,
It is very good.
it's so good. So you're gonna have some extra cheese left over, obviously, because we're, making a large batch. What I wanna show you now is, since today's our wrap it up, right? Is that what we're calling it?
I think it's now at this point in the show, it is wrap it up.
Noted. All right. Chatty. I get it. Really quickly then, I'll show you one more thing that we like to do, and that is taking, now I'm gonna have to wash my hands a bunch of times, but taking a piece of your bacon. You could also use prosciutto if you wanted, but bacon, you cannot go wrong with Lisa's Country Bacon. So I'm gonna do just like this, put 2 pieces of bacon right here, and move all of this out of the way. I'm not actually touching any of it with my bacon hands. I'm gonna take, let's start with our cheese. This is a really fun appetizer anytime you're going to a party, because again, you can make it ahead of time, or you can serve it hot out of the oven. It's up to you. Take your cheese and do a single little pipe right down the center. Made these for Drunko Bunko one night. What's up?
Did we learn that from?
Yes.
Going to.
We learned this going to,
Reno's.
Chef Redo's in Greensboro. He showed us how to make this very easy appetizer, and everybody loved it. So we're gonna take some black pepper, 2 spears of asparagus right in the center. Not cooked, but washed, and then the ends cut off. And then we just wrap and wrap and wrap into beautiful little bundle, just like this. Put it onto some parchment paper. Have another one ready to go here. Wrap it up into its own little bundle. And this can also go into an oven, 400 degrees, about 15 minutes, and 10 to 15 minutes. Really watch it, depending on how thick your asparagus is. You obviously want the asparagus to get nice and steamed, but really you also want the bacon to get nice and crispy. So these are great, very simple, easy appetizers. Please check out, go to my website, cookingwithkatieandacocktail.com. Gonna have all of the measurements.
Look at the size of that bubble on the side of your cheese.
Why is that happening? Oh my God, I feel like at any moment it's gonna explode. Okay, I think it's best that the show is over now. Thank you for joining us, cookingwithkatieandacocktail.com. It's all brought to you by Sausage and Jolo Winery and Vineyards. Bye, guys.